Hello and welcome to Kiga. My name is Camila, and this podcast has everything to do with life force, energy, and the art of embodying the yogic path. My intention with Kiga is to help you remember who you really are underneath all the layers. We are connected to something so much grander and so much bigger than we can ever imagine. Today, I did something that I probably never would have thought that I would do if you asked me this 10 years ago. I went freediving, and I've been fascinated with freediving for a little bit now, just watching documentaries of people swimming with sharks and marine life. Now, it looked really peaceful and calm when I would see them doing it and the way that they would explain how they feel. But let me tell you, through my own process, this is not how it starts. However, the process is what is so fascinating. And I can understand why it would get addicting as a hobby. Another reason why I've wanted to get into this is because I'm super passionate about breath. Breath work has shifted my life in so many different ways. And through every intense medicine journey that I've also had, it's the same message that's brought to me is breath. It's something that I return to every single time, and breath just seems to be the key to everything. And people absolutely loved my breathwork journeys when I would lead them back home. And I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back with Kiga, Ki, Chi, life force. It's the key to unlocking everything within. And I find now with this Western culture taking yoga and turning it into something very commercialized, we've been so focused on the poses and sweating and we've just lost the essence of where it starts, and that's with breath. So I was curious to see what kind of practices they implement to hold breath for longer. And to be honest, it wasn't anything fancy or anything that I haven't done already. Getting into a state of calm was how it started. And we practiced holding our breath on land, which I made it just over 2 minutes. It was the craziest feeling to have your diaphragm start spasming. I've never held my breath or been guided to hold my breath for this long. So to reach that point of my diaphragm spasming was just incredibly odd and interesting. We then went into the pool and practiced in the pool. And again, I could last up to, just over 2 minutes, but I knew that my head was close to the surface. So at any point, I could come up and take that big breath of air if I needed it. So the whole point is to work up a tolerance to the CO2 levels in your body. What's interesting is that our body actually needs carbon dioxide just as much as it needs oxygen. And improving our CO2 tolerance means learning to breathe less and slower and more efficiently. We are a collective of overbreathers. Like, we breathe all day long, but I guarantee a lot of us don't actually know how to breathe. Our tissues in our body need carbon dioxide to stay healthy. It helps to widen our blood vessels, it increases blood flow, and it starts to bring more nutrients into our tissues. Also, what's fascinating is that as you begin to hold your breath and go underwater, your cheeks have these receptors in them, and it sends this message through a main nerve to your brain, letting it know to basically slow the heart rate, conserve your oxygen, and redirect the blood to the brain and the heart, calming the nervous system. This reflex is found in a lot of mammals, especially seals and whales. It's the strongest in seals and whales. So the reason why people feel calm underwater is because of this heart rate drop. It's because the body naturally starts to activate the parasympathetic state, and the pressure of the water stimulates that vagal pathway. So the ocean kind of gives this sensation of being back in the womb. We arrive back in that peaceful feeling where we were safe and held before any conditioning. But let me tell you, to arrive in that feeling underwater, you have to get through your conditioned thoughts. And those conditioned thoughts run so deep. I have to be honest, I was not a person that loved water. I really hated cold water, especially. I would always tell everyone how much I hated cold water. I would not go into water that often unless I was extremely hot and uncomfortable from the heat. Then I could finally get in to cool down. But I was never a cold plunging person either, and I just remember my first time cold plunging, and I was so proud of myself. After coming out of my first cold plunge, I realized that if I can do that, I can tell myself that I can do anything, because truly it just fucking lives in your head. The story you tell yourself, I don't like cold water. Sure, if that's what you're going to tell yourself, then that's what's going to happen in real life. If you don't move past the thoughts and the stories that you tell yourself in your mind, then you're just going to stay stuck there. The cold is just a sensation, and we attach a label to cold based on our experiences, and sometimes that can take a negative tone. And but in reality, cold is just a sensation, just as heat is just a sensation. And how to move past those uncomfortable feelings is, your perception of it. Eventually, once I got into that cold plunge, I would go numb to the cold anyways. You don't even feel it after a certain point. And I got the craziest feeling in my heart once as it started to pump cold blood through my heart. It was just the coolest feeling. And I got hooked. Ever since then, I started plunging, and yeah, I just loved it. I loved the feeling of how good you would feel after and how invigorating it was, and the fact that it helped me gain a whole new level of control over my mind. So when we got into the ocean and that rope went down, I thought to myself, okay, this is happening. And I flipped upside down, and I could feel this air bubble sensation within my esophagus. It was kind of disorienting, flipping upside down and having to equalize and remember to stay calm and to not look up, and all these things that I and when I looked up and I saw that the 5 meter marker was still like halfway to go, I just went right back up. I could not even meet the yellow marker at 5 meters without getting stressed, knowing that I had that much further to go and knowing that I still needed air in my lungs to get back up. So I realized that I can't look at the marker if I'm going down, because it just stressed me out more. But every time I went down for the first few times, I freaked out, and I came up and I felt a little bit emotional at one point, wondering, why am I getting this sensation and sudden urge to cry? It's so hard to explain. Almost like I had reached this feeling of defeat, like, just why can't I do this? Why do I keep freaking out? Why is this so challenging to stay calm? And why can't I get out of my own way? It it took me back to feelings of my past, really, because I recognize these feelings that I was carrying were old emotional memories tied to my worth, old familiar messages of I'm not good enough, I should be doing better. And I guess the tears were just almost a form of grief for not being celebrated enough. I wasn't reassured when I was younger. I never heard you're doing great. The things that you need to hear as a child. It was always this attention brought to what I was doing wrong. And my body at that time was going through this moment of, okay, this is a familiar feeling. I'm trying something completely new. I'm struggling with it. And this is where I usually get hurt. When I'm struggling to learn something new, I was told negative things that would bring me down, that would create more inner pressure. And although this gave me ambition and resilience and the drive to keep pushing and to be exactly where I am today, to have the courage to leave my comfort zones, it was great. It pushed me to succeed, but at the same time, that push is too hard. And when I'm not perfect, or I feel like I'm quote unquote failing, I tend to move into this freeze response. And for years, I've been working on that critical voice. I mean, my best friend can tell you that she thinks I'm the hardest person that she knows on myself. And every day I'm having to train myself to be my own biggest cheerleader. Through that moment in the water, there was this amazing switch that happened each time that I would go down, and that inner voice had to change. And in the process, I would have to continue to be my own inner coach, telling myself it's okay, stay calm, God is with me. And things just became quiet. It became peaceful, like time slowed down, and I could be under the water without that anxiety, and I could surface back up to the top with stillness in my mind and my body. It was incredible. It was just such a moving experience to feel the freeze response, the anxiety, the thoughts, all conditioned. And then to come out the other side and to feel everything that feels amazing. I just can't explain exactly or put into words, but I ended up making it into 11 meters and I couldn't believe it. The fact that I was able to do that, it feels really amazing. And I just want that feeling again, like that peaceful, calm stillness. And it's not that I just want to go down again to feel the feeling. It's the practice of controlling my thoughts in order to feel the safety in my body, and vice versa. Like having to stay calm in my body to keep the thoughts still. It's wild. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, I've had it in Vipassana, but when you're holding your breath and taking your body past its edge to a point that's not comfortable and kind of unnatural, and bring you stillness and peace and calm. I'm so excited. I'm definitely going back. I am getting my level 1 certificate. And one thing that I have to say for everyone out there is keep going past your comfort zone. Keep following what scares you, because if you're not growing, you're dying. And honestly, it just gets easier, and what's on the other side is beyond your wildest dreams. So keep being your biggest cheerleader. Make sure that the 5 closest humans that you hang around with are positive humans who lift you up, who have qualities that you look up to, who support you in positive ways, and who propel you into your greatness, and not the opposite. If you enjoyed this episode, please share the love and subscribe. Don't forget to come back for more.